Oh, look at that. Toward good too.
It's very sad.
Probably right where we're gonna talk about too today. Never fails, huh?
So, does somebody have something against me?
Oh, that was from the meeting the other night.
Oh,
We
they
turned
didn't
them
want to
all
be me?
over.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
Nobody wanted to be any of us.
Sounded like that was an awful meeting to let you have to sit in on.
Peter told me. Then I had another one the next night.
Well, the good news is I did make it to the
Did you?
Farm Bureau. So
Oh, you did.
I made it back for that, but I wouldn't have made it back for that.
So here we were, and Scott Anderson's here, and I'm like, should we reschedule that? Because it was already getting way into it by the time this meeting was done. So he suggested we just reschedule and then post it, and we could all be there.
Mhm.
Did they
Hi,
tell
how are
you
you?
about that at all?
I'm Jay.
Hi, I'm Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Did you put me in?
So maybe
Yeah,
if
did you
went,
eat my
we
Mac?
can have to reschedule.
Nope, I've never seen it.
Oh,
So,
Yeah,
so I don't know.
answer your questions.
Oh, sure. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Sad day.
It is a sad day. We have tape.
Okay. Probably right exactly on ED3, some 4.
Why is it a
yeah,
sad
that's on the
day?
other side.
Pardon me?
Three's on the other side.
It is.
So why is it a sad day?
Right here.
I just broke my thing. That's all. That's-
Oh,
Oh, we're good to go.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Did you see I sent you an email just a minute ago?
I did not.
I had a new guy call me this morning. Didn't get picked up on Friday.
A new start? Or-
No, just a guy.
Okay. Okay. I'll talk to him. I'll talk to operations.
I'm so sorry.
No, no, I'm sorry.
I've never had so many calls in a time like this.
No, I think it was a transition from Clark's Grove into Mason City. The Mason City is was shorthanded. Apparently they're fully staffed now.
Okay.
And I need to have them just double check the routing, make sure all these stops are actually on our routing. I mean, we shouldn't be missing stops.
Well, and I don't know.
Unless they're
and
keeping
then-
it somewhere different that the driver isn't aware of, or,
Well, or whole areas aren't getting picked up. I don't, because like this was.
Yes.
we probably should start.
yeah, it's 9 o'clock. Say pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes and agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion Derby and second Smith. Approve minutes and agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, 9 AM, discussion with possible action, negotiation with Waste Management regarding contract for rural recycling pickup. Well, I guess
Lots of information here, lots of
it was,
people
it was a hot
contacting.
topic at the Farm Bureau meeting.
Hot topic everywhere.
Yeah, I know we put together a bid, to keep the rural services. We weren't able to put in a bid for the drop sites. I'm sure the county's aware everything's gone up in prices these days. It's, from salaries to maintenance to insurance, everything's gone up a little bit. So this is about our best bid as far as what we put in there for the, I believe it was 550 for the current number of homes.
How much? How many?
550? That's based off of the current contract.
I thought we were doing 1,000 homes.
We are doing 1,000 homes. That's what's in the current contract.
Did we ever figure out,
550 down.
any overlap with, out at Rocky Knoll?
As far, I'm sorry,
Rocky Knoll is the trailer park on the north side of, Forest City. It's in the county area, but they're being serviced by a vendor that's with Forest City.
okay,
And, you know, that, I know the person that owns it out there just all of a sudden decided they wanted those services, so they're billing their tenants.
okay.
And you know, we were offering free services, so I didn't understand why that happened. But I don't know if they were picking up in there at all, or if some of them were still putting them out, or
I guess I would have to check to get some addresses and check the addresses for the routing accounts. I honestly, I don't know if we were servicing any
I
of
know
them
there's
in there.
people out there that were upset they're paying for it when it should be free.
Okay.
They're not in city limits.
No,
Mm-mm.
but they're using the same vendor as, I think it's because of the garbage part of it. That must have been a multiple contract or something, I don't know.
I don't know.
That they might potentially want like, whatever they're getting right now, weekly or every other week service or,
I don't know,
okay.
for sure. Just know people are complaining that they used to have it free, now they're paying through the rent
Okay. But we
cycle.
didn't cancel any out, so I guess that would have to be the owner of the trailer court.
I know on a phone conversation, were you on that phone conversation, or was that somebody else that was on that phone conversation in a meeting? I'm trying to remember who was on.
Oh, that was on this phone during one of our board meetings. Was that you?
That wasn't me.
Okay.
So whoever we had talked to was gonna look into it.
Okay.
Try to look at the pickups and see if it had been serviced or not.
Okay. If I can get some addresses, I can definitely look into it. I don't know if they've got with the trailer park, it's probably, they want one vendor going through and not multiple. That would be my guess. That's the way it is for most, home properties like that.
So I'm confused on that dollar amount then, if you're saying it was, the existing was 550?
No, the existing was, I forget what the current contract is, but, our bid would be 550 on 1,000 homes.
The new bid that
Yep.
you're offering?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any way to know how many of those 1,000 homes? I mean, I know it's an offered service, so they
Yep.
can use it or they can not use it, but do we have any figures at all on knowing how many people are
Are signed
actually? Pardon me?
That are signed up for the service.
Yes.
Yeah, I can get that. I believe, I know we've seen an increase
Okay.
since our last talks, but, yeah, I can definitely get that. I want to say it's in the, mid 800s.
Okay.
Yeah, I have seen an uptick.
Here's the address of the whole facility on our,
Oh, boy.
okay, so it's,
Wendy Hopkins?
I'm trying to zero it, there, we'll make it bigger.
Rocky. Okay. Yep, when I get back to office, I'll take a look at that. See if we've got anybody on Rocky Knoll land. I was thinking a little bit, I know that you discussed, maybe it was me on the call, I didn't realize I was on a conference call, but I believe I did speak to you. And you
Well,
mentioned something
The
about.
last time we spoke was just you.
Okay, you and I, okay.
But this was 3-4 weeks ago, I think, after, I don't know if it was before or after the bids.
That may have been Corey Thorson.
Yeah, it was.
Okay. And I know you discussed something about the county possibly looking into their own transfer station.
We had thought about it.
Yeah, and that's something we can put in the contract as a clause, that if the county decides to contract on their own to do recycling, we can put that in. All we'd need would be like a 90-day notice.
And then you would,
We have that with a couple other counties too, because
so you would pick up from that facility then.
we could definitely arrange to pick up from the facility, but the big thing would be, you guys would be able to, it'd be an out in the contract for you to run your own recycling or to have drop
With a
sites at that,
90-day notice.
drop site at that facility.
So if we provided a location for that, then we would provide insurance and,
Well, what I was
What do you-
discussing then was if we simulated what Worth County was doing. We actually have a building, they drive in, we hire a
Oh,
person.
not
We
in
know
a,
what that budget would be, outside of all the capital outlays.
yeah,
We're gonna be spending $100,000 and some $1,000 a year on that.
so you're not saying in addition to curbside pickup?
No,
Or
one or the
one
other.
or the other?
That was just investigating it and seeing, because I know you guys pick up Worth counties right now from their building and haul it away.
Yep.
So I know you said the salaries and everything go up, but it's like a 30% increase from the 411 that we were doing to the 550 that you want to do.
It
That's
is.
a lot.
Yep, and that's everything from fuel to salaries, everything's gone up. The commodities unfortunately have gone down. They were on an upturn for a little bit, they've now gone down again. So much so that there's actually we used to take cardboard into Mankato, to a facility, they actually closed their doors. The commodities of, there's just not a lot of value right now in there. And then the processing, of course, has increased since our last contract, just due to, it's got to be cleaner coming out, so you have to slow down the lines on the
You were saying
processing
about it went
facilities.
from 5% to 0.5.
It was 0.5%, and then it went to a 5% allowable contamination rate. And that's, 50% of what we were picking up used to go over to China. And then they kind of slammed the door on that, and made it a 0.5% allowable contamination rate. So the lines had to slow way down, and it had to be absolutely clean to send it out, or it was refused. So that's added quite a bit to the cost. It's just made the processing cost go way up.
Yeah, the problem is the service.
Yep.
It's huge, the number of calls that we've gotten, the complaints we've gotten, the people that are really, really angry about the service and want some kind of, I don't know, there's gotta be better communication, there's gotta be better
Clarification on the pickup
schedule, there's gotta be something, because customers are angry.
Promising you're gonna pick it up day after day,
I don't blame
and
them.
then not showing up day after day. You'd be much better off to say, no, we're not gonna be able to get it for a week or two. 'Cause it was 100% unanimous at the Farm Bureau meeting to go away from the curbside pickup. And, and they're all rural people, and they were pretty, I told them, what we have to decide between is the convenience of the curbside or going to the drop sites, which the drop sites, the gentleman that has bid that is considerable less than what your guys' bid is, which it should be, because you don't have near the capital outlay for equipment. But, so we're down to picking between the convenience and the price, but the service is, a couple of them guys were,
I've received some calls, and
I would imagine so, yeah.
I have, and I know their frustration. We are, like I said, we are now fully staffed. We did have an issue with the transition of service from Clark's Grove, where it used to come out of, to Mason City. But I think we are getting on the right track now to provide the service that, you know, they've been used to in years past. And we gotta get back to that.
I have a question on
We're aware of that.
how people know that they're not getting picked up today. Because some people know that, and some people don't. They're like, oh, my neighbor got a message that they're not coming today. Well, how did that neighbor get it?
There should be, all of our accounts, there should be a call out to it. When they sign up for an account with us, they should be getting either a phone call or an email. And it depends on what they sign up for.
See, years
To
ago
see
when I
it
got
all.
my dumpster,
Mhm.
all it was my address and name. And there was no notification process. Maybe the newer people that got a dumpster or something get on some kind of notification.
But you don't get a notification if you're not getting picked up. So how do we?
That's something we have to look into.
Yeah. And then how can I know this? Because when I get the call, I'm blind, as
Well,
you know.
that's where the communication, Corey and the staff there
Yeah,
at Mason City have to be better about notification. And we sat down and we had a talk, all the managers, including Corey's manager, that, you know, this can't happen. They have to be notified.
and
This
then
is
I'd like
once
to
a
know
month
that,
service.
so I can tell people when they do call,
And that's a big thing.
yeah.
And I don't know if you can put it out on the website or,
We have a website,
But only
if
if
we
you know.
had information.
Well, only if I know.
We have Facebook page, we have a website.
And usually by the time I get a call, the day's already passed, so there's no reason to put it on our
Right.
website because it's over.
You know, it's tough
It's
if
too
you have
late.
a breakdown or if you have somebody got sick and there wasn't anybody to replace them. And all of a sudden you have an incident you can't really cover, you know, and you have to have it out there before 6 o'clock in the morning to be picked up.
Right.
You go to work
and in a lot of the rural areas lately, at least lately, it's been the weather, and we need to, we've had a long discussion about that.
So
That will improve.
I know you were explaining to me the rules on holidays. Okay, so like New Year, or Christmas and New Year's, the holiday was on a weekend,
Mhm.
so it didn't affect the schedule for the following week or the previous week, right?
Correct.
But
they-
now, I don't know if you celebrate MLK like this week. Is this a holiday week?
No.
Okay.
And I believe I have some calendars I can send out.
I
that
have the
oh,
most recent calendar.
that have a list
Okay.
of the holidays right on it. So it's a 4-panel calendar.
I did notice the newest calendar doesn't have the multiple pickup weeks on it, just has ours. So,
Yeah, you only get
right.
everybody only gets their schedule.
It used to be
Oh.
by color. Now
You
it's
need-
just
You
your
need all the
schedule.
schedules.
I need all the schedules, but yeah, as a
Okay.
resident, I think that they only get their schedule.
Yep.
And I don't know if there's a website that you provide that they can go to and look something up, or if we can link to a website that can provide them that information, or
And
get
some
on a
people-
notification.
I don't know if it would be locally, you know, like for weather and stuff. I don't know if it would be locally. Like we have to really depend on the site notifying Chris and the call outs.
Okay. So maybe if there's good communication there and we post something, then maybe on the card that goes out, they could have a place on that card, a link to
Okay.
go to our site at least to check.
And some people call Waste Management. I don't know where they're calling, and I don't know who they get. And some get answers like, oh yeah, we're gonna come next week. I don't know where they're
I
calling.
don't know if the
Our,
card
our
has
main,
one.
our main site is Germantown, but our overflow goes to Houston for the
Yeah.
call center. So
Yeah, they don't know.
if
And if
they're
you say
having,
you're from Forest City, they say they don't do the service, and then,
that's because we actually don't do the service in Forest City, and they
Right.
probably don't recognize that this is rural service.
right.
So,
Mhm.
they would probably have a better chance of Winnebago County
Mhm.
rather rather than saying Forest City, because then we actually do have a green pages listing for Winnebago County.
Okay. Sometimes I tell them to say their township, and that works. I don't know.
Well, or else they could, we've got all the addresses, they could give them the address, they could quick look it up in our MAS system, and it would pop up there as well.
Okay.
So we've had lots of discussions about where this can head. You know, we've talked sort of endlessly about whether we can change it to even a single place pickup in the county, like Worth County does, or have we considered only having a 1-year contract to see?
Well, I look at this, since there's a 90-day out clause, it could be a 90-day contract if it doesn't get better.
That's what, I'm looking for a
Yeah.
solution like that at this point to see if it gets better. You know, if we can have better communication, if we can make like dozens of people who text and call all of us, we can get them to be satisfied again with the services that you and your company provide. You know, and half of them are also, I hope we're not paying for this. What we've, the service that we've provided is,
And that's the question people have had. Are we paying for those weeks that don't get picked up at all? You know?
And I have not put in any type of credit into the system, because generally, like if we miss or there's a weather-related delay, like in trash, we end up picking up the same amount of trash the next week. We take everything that's out. And that's generally how that works. It would get to be messy.
I can see where you're going with that, but the inconvenience of a service
Yep.
that we're supposed to be paying for is not, the service isn't there.
Yep, and that's what we're working to improve.
So what I think we're sort of saying is maybe to give it another chance.
Okay.
But, I mean, sort of, but
But we expect waste management to honor their contract for service and more communication and especially communication with the county, knowing what's going to happen.
I mean, we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater here. You know, I mean, it had been working. People were okay with it, but the price, I mean, let's just put it out there, the price went up exorbitantly. And so we just need to do our due diligence in how we're spending that money too, so.
No, and it's on us to improve our service.
And
Yeah.
I'm getting nervous.
There's no excuse, it's on us.
Yeah.
Whether it's weather and we're delayed, whether it's breakdowns, we need to be better at figuring out getting everybody service.
And another one of the issues is that, there's been reports, and I've gotten it from some pretty good sources, that the recycling is going to the landfill anyway. So should we even have a recycling program at all?
Our recycling doesn't go to the landfill, it doesn't get landfill. The only time our recycling ever gets landfill is if we call, like we've had a few instances in Lincoln County, Minnesota, where somebody came in and dumped construction into a drop site. That would be landfill, but no, we are not landfilling the recycling. We just don't do that. That I can guarantee you.
A couple of the sources that it's come from said they actually physically saw it being dumped there.
How do they know it's a recycling truck?
Yeah, I don't know.
They all look kind of
It's,
similar.
I can tell you the driver would be fired and the manager would be immediately fired.
mhm.
We don't landfill recycling.
So are we interested in seeing another offer from Waste Management? Or are we, I mean, or would you like to consider something we would put together as far as
I think his words were when he started, That's the most we can go.
Well, no, I mean about 90 days
That's in there.
and there, oh, it is?
We can.
Yeah, I think it might even be in the
90
current-
day notice, we can.
I left my entire briefcase, but I think maybe the current contract has a service clause in
It's
there.
3 years at the increases that they have in there, the guaranteed price is that,
It's
and but there's a 90-day
usually under
clause we can
default.
get out of it anytime.
Oh,
There's a termination.
90 day.
and then some type of credit for
90 days, yeah.
the work that wasn't done, the service that you didn't provide.
Well,
I don't
technically,
know.
they have to pick up twice as much recycling when they finally get there, so they're not really saving much money, maybe a little time on the driver, but they're gonna have to spend more time going to empty the truck because they're picking up. And so kinda,
I
you're
know.
still paying for it,
I know.
it just doesn't look as good.
The one complaint that I heard that was really over the top was I had a gal from, I believe it was Rice Lake called, and she had called in and they had missed her pickup several times. And so they had called in and had somebody was finally coming to pick up her stuff. And so they told the neighborhood, everybody had set out their cans. And the driver went to her house and picked up her stuff and left everybody in the whole neighborhood's can sitting there. And
Picked up-
only dumped her can.
Actually, they picked up two, hers and one other one, and I think those were the only two people that were really complaining and calling in, but everybody else has sat there, and I actually had my own personal pickup full of recycling from out there that was spread all over the place.
And I think I wonder if that was when Corey actually sent the container delivery truck out there? And he would have just either dumped it in the carts that he had on board or swapped out the carts. That could have been, it wasn't an actual service truck,
Oh.
but a cart delivery truck.
Well, she said she watched him,
Or was it an actual?
it was an actual
trash
truck, and he picked up the two that had complained, and everybody in the neighborhood had put their trucks out, and they watched him dump the two trucks, or the two pickups, and left everyone else in the whole neighborhood sit there.
I have a text message here from somebody.
That'll be another conversation.
It's, do you know where Rice Lake is?
I drove for 14 years and I don't understand why you would ever do that.
If you're there, you would think you just get it.
Huh?
If you're there, you would think you just get it,
Yeah.
I guess.
You get it, because you're there, because, I mean, you're putting on the miles and the time to get there.
Unless, of course, those last two dumps were filled the truck and they never got back. I guess the timing of the truck getting full cannot always be convenient too, so.
Yeah, but if they're gonna go out there, they've got room.
There is a part in here that says the county reserves the right to terminate the contract if the contractor fails to perform the obligations outlined herein.
Yep.
I mean, so we have the 90
So,
days plus that.
Just thought the last
you're
couple
just-
of months was a good enough cause to cancel that if we chose. I got a text message from somebody, I don't know who it is, it's a mobile number, but it says, I see that you're going to talk about rural recycling at your meeting tomorrow night. Wow, this was a couple of weeks ago. Thought I would let you know that we have not received service from Waste Management for 2 months. I have called multiple times, and they assured me that the truck would be coming. However, it did not, and then he names a neighbor, has also had the same thing happen to her. Just wanted you to know.
Did they by chance leave an address?
Well, I could probably text back and get an address for
That'd be
it.
great. I need to check and,
I don't know who it is.
But I think, again, if they're calling and they're getting Houston, is Houston just saying, oh, we're gonna come next week, and not really knowing what you're doing in locally?
but service
I
alerts.
don't know where they're calling.
If the site puts in a service alert, say they have a massive breakdown, 2 or 3 trucks go down, or it's a weather related, that service alert automatically goes into our, we call green pages. It's in the green pages, so if they were to call in and say, I'm from Winnebago County, or they give an address, they can look that up and that service alert will pop up in there.
Okay.
Unless you've got somebody who's just,
But then how does that person on the phone, looking at the green page, know when the pickup's gonna be? Is that listed
that's
also
listed,
in there?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, Recovery will be the next day, or recovery will be on Friday.
Okay,
Yeah, that's listed in there.
okay,
That's kind of how we link the communication with, or apparently lack thereof, with all of our sites.
okay.
So I have another question that's a little bit aside, but do you at your site by Lake Mills have recycling containers that if somebody has an overrun and they want to get rid of it before you pick up at the end of their lane, can they bring it to that?
Not at our site, not at Lake Mills, we do have our transfer station in Mason City. We do have,
But nothing in
we do have
Lake Mills,
containers
or in
outside. No,
okay. Is that something that you'd be willing
I could definitely look into it.
to do?
Maybe put a 6-yard out there.
There's
When-
cases of people would maybe be going south for the winter and the timing isn't good for getting rid of their stuff or something.
Just for convenience, if people they have
Half-mile long driveway.
we have 90-year-old ladies that are dragging their recycling to the end of the lane. It might be convenient if their kid is there someday with a pickup, can you take my recycling?
Yeah.
Can you get rid of it?
Then you do get into it. The only issue we would have is you do get into, like, if we were to put a couple of 6 yards at that site. Well, then you start getting a lot of commercial businesses abusing it, and they'll fill that thing up
I would think you
in one dump.
document where it came from, the address that it came from.
Well, they wouldn't have to do that. I mean, it would just be like a couple of containers there. But if businesses get a hold of where that's located, to get rid of their cardboard for free or have all their stuff for free, plastic for free.
Would it be something
They
that
will
you'd be
use
able to see from your office out there anyway, so
At
you'd be
central
able to
disposal.
monitor that, or?
Well, yeah, if they saw it, I mean.
Yeah.
If they saw it happen. I don't know if it would be in an enclosed area or
Or
a
just
fenced in
out?
area or out. You get a lot, when you put containers out like that, you get a lot of abuse. People tend to think of it as their way of getting rid of trash projects. And
I mean,
if they're remodeling, guess what, I don't have to pay to get rid of it.
in my opinion, that's a drawback to a central drop site that's uncontrolled or
It's the same people,
four
it's a lot of the
sites.
same people that use this roadside ditch out in the rural area and figure they'll never get caught.
If people are new to the county, they call me to get a cart, and I tell them to call out to central disposal, because that's where we used to have
Yep.
carts. Is that still right?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
And when you say people have signed up for the service, is this a list that's been going on for, 8 years? You keep a continuing list?
Continuing list, yep.
Okay. So, places have been sold and a lot of times the containers stay with the place. So that it may not be the same name, it's the same address and.
Yep. And some of them are. Some of them will call in to cancel, and then the other homeowner restarts.
Because many of them, it's a free service, why do I need to cancel?
I'm gonna be honest with you, I guess I gotta have a better talk with them on their routing. And we gotta check the routing that was transferred from Clark's Grove to Mason City, because everything's routed, everything's on a computer.
Yeah.
It's 3 stops at a time. It's either serviced or not out. And it should be easy. It shouldn't be this difficult. So we've got something going on. I don't know if it's a current driver or a fill-in driver, but they should still be able to, by that computer, run their route effectively.
So they're just punching in that they.
Yeah,
picked
it's
this
an
up
onboard
or
computer that all the stops are routed for efficiency. It's routed by a computer. And the 3 stops show up. So they get to that stop and they either hit serviced or not out. And then that's actually GPS time stamped. So on that account, So they picked up Third Street. That, it would timestamp when they serviced it or when they marked it as not out. And that's that actually shows up on the individual accounts.
Yeah, because I've had people call that say, they told me that my recycling wasn't out, but it was. And I watched them go right by.
And that shouldn't be happening.
Right.
Because if it's a special location, say if it's, I don't know if it's a drive up or they're putting it in a weird spot around the corner, that should be noted in that account too.
I
And these are
know a
mostly
couple
rural
people that just
addresses.
put that bringing out of their building in their yard, and it's always been that they pick it up by that building.
Mhm.
Because what cities do we do? Scarville and
Rake.
Rake.
And I don't know if the original definition of those was because they were under 500, or Leland has their own, they're under 500.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, all the things they could ask me about at the Farm Bureau meeting when they started the meeting, the first thing out of Scott's mouth was rural recycling. It's a hot topic. Well, I guess,
And at least I feel like if we have that 90 days out, it is winter time still, where there's going to be winter events. It's a good time to maybe go with it,
Test the communication.
test it to see if it's gonna
Service.
work. Because there will be more days if there's gonna be a snow event. It's a thought.
last week you said that it was practically 2-to-1 in favor of keeping it the way it is on
On the
Facebook.
Facebook, yeah.
Has it stayed at that pace? Has there been any other posts on it?
I really haven't looked since then, to be honest.
I would
Calls
say,
I've had would like it still to be the picked up if it was better.
Yeah. The caveat every time is only if it's improved.
I think one of the comments I got from somebody, I wish they'd quit messing with us. They're so
Yeah,
tired of
because
it.
people are willing to, they realize if something happened on Thursday and it's not gonna pick up till Friday, they get that, stuff happens. It's just,
You just
Well,
don't
and
wanna-
they only pick up on Fridays in the county, so it's not like it's Monday here, Tuesday here, it's only Fridays. But it's when they're gonna pick up next. Is
So-
it gonna be the next week? Is it the next day? That's when people are confused, and so they're taking their carts out and back, out
So
and
the
back, out
holiday
and back.
schedule makes it on Saturday then?
Hmm?
The holiday schedule would put it on a Saturday?
Put it on a Saturday, correct. And, we can eliminate that doubt. We can put it right in the contract, and it should be in the contract. If we have a weather event and we can't get out to service it, it should be picked up on the next working day. Now that, some of our storms have lasted 4 days, there might be a bit of a, something like that, but yeah, if there's for some
There
reason,
again,
any reason,
that
it
makes
needs
the
to be the,
communication important.
it should be in there.
It says holiday schedule means January 1, Memorial Day, July 4, Labor Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. And if falling on a weekday represents a day in which recyclables will not be picked up. But it doesn't say when it will be.
That might be good information if we have a place on our website to have that information for people to reference. It's not that they don't have their card or whatever, they just know what.
I wonder if we could do a link, if you could send me all 4 schedules, that we could have all 4 schedules on a link on our website. Do you think that would work, Carla?
You just have to know how to get into the right one,
Well, you would know your color, because aren't they color-based?
They used to be.
Yes.
Yes,
The new
So-
schedules don't color it though. New schedules are just for your area.
Right. So, Yeah.
A year ago I was pink.
I think we do have one that's all, shows all
okay. Because do you do it in quadrants, like north, south, east, west, or?
4. I believe that's.
I mean,
that's
I
how
don't
it is.
remember how you do
So
it.
there's four pickup schedules?
Yep.
Okay.
How many trucks are actually out on a pickup day?
It's usually one truck servicing.
One
You were
truck.
telling me you're gonna, because of the new trucks, you have to do two?
It's, yeah, it's possibly gonna be two, because Mason City went to, compressed natural gas. So they did away with a lot of the rear loads, so these are clean burning.
So you're picking up 850?
No, because it's monthly, so it's split into
Oh,
like
sure.
200
Yep,
200 and
sorry.
some stops.
250 about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we had all 4 schedules, then we could put it on Facebook and then go to the website. Knowing when the holidays are, knowing when it should be picked up. A call-in if they're missed.
If we had a message board on that part of it,
Yeah,
Yeah, just a message board, because then,
weather related or
yep.
then
otherwise.
Waste Management could check it. too.
Well,
I mean,
or
you could see how
at
it
least
was.
communicate to us and put it up.
Right,
Mhm.
because I won't know until on Friday if there's a weather event that you're not coming. Maybe it's so bad on Thursday, you know you're not coming Friday.
Yep.
That we could do it, but more than likely it's gonna be Friday morning. And if I knew
It's gotta
about it
be
when I
as
come
early
to
as
work at
possible.
8, that we can get it right on the website.
So, but you're always, that same truck is probably always somewhere else the day before? Does it get backed up because of weather? Or do they
Some-
work longer
sometimes.
hours?
Sometimes if you have a big storm, everything gets set back a day.
Yeah,
You know?
that's where it'd be good to communicate so we know that we're gonna be backed up a day.
And then somehow on your, can we send out a new card? A new schedule to people and have them have our website on there so they know to look at our website for updates. Because then they would know.
We better get it'd be nice to have that address of that part of the website, specifically, so they don't have to navigate to it. A link to, if he developed that recycling part of our site, and we can provide that to him if he's gonna communicate with everybody.
I don't know what you, sorry.
Well, when you say our site,
Our website, our Winnebago County, Iowa website.
but I can tell you right now, it's not the easiest navigation. Nothing against the site, but I've had times I've wanted to go watch the live stream, or I've wanted to go do this. It takes some finding. I mean,
Well, we're getting a new website, so
Yeah.
it'll be easier.
So I'm just saying, if we had our website, and then you have the next part of that website is linking it directly to the recycling stuff.
So the steps that you take once you get to
You're
our
eliminating those steps for the person. Just click on a link. You're there, then you navigate it within the
website. That'd
recycling.
be a Brody thing to get with him, to get with you.
But rather send something out that wasn't specific to, get it planned ahead of time. And
Do you think that would be workable?
I can check. with-
I know, I'm, that's a lot to ask.
Not by
That's a
me,
lot.
but I can definitely check and see what we can do.
I mean, if we want our communication to be better,
It's gotta be easy.
Yeah,
yeah.
but it's frustrating that we have to do your work.
I know, you shouldn't have to, and that's why the call out
I mean-
should be effective, and the email should be effective.
I mean, it's great to try to make this transparent and workable and stuff, but
Well, and getting that list up to date, I think, would be a step in the right direction.
Yeah, we can go through the accounts to see which ones we don't have. I don't know, I mean, would it be possible if we went through the accounts, the ones that we don't have a number for?
I don't have their number either.
I know.
Right?
Dang it.
Is there something that you can leave
But there's a lot of them where, see, we have separate accounts for trash and we have an account for Winnebago. So if they actually have waste management trash,
Mhm.
we would have their number. We would just have to transfer that number over to the recycling
Right.
as well. They would have two separate accounts because the one is trash, they pay, directly to Waste Management. The other one is, it basically, it comes out to like a routing account.
Mhm.
So, but most of them that have called in, maybe it's some that have been 8 years old.
And when
Don't have-
when we first signed up and you didn't have to give that,
You didn't have to give that information, but I bet you a lot of them in recent years have given us that phone number, because they are signing up.
so if I get calls, I can have them call where? To have them add that number.
Call me.
Here's what I've been doing. I took
Have you got my,
Oh, I have your stuff.
I took
we probably have a bunch of
Jason's,
cards.
Jeremiah's, and Jay's business card, took a picture of it, and I just been sending it to people.
Yep.
But I don't know how they.
Don't do Jeremiah's,
Okay,
because that's now run out of, I'd run out of Mason City. But, yeah,
so
they
like,
can definitely call me if they're having issues. And I have fielded some calls.
I'm sure you have, because I've been sending this out.
Yep, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
And
And I
I
put on the Facebook page just to have them call our office so that we can send the information to Jim. So I would rather have them call us so that we can field it and at least know, because I'm asking the questions too, like where, what do we want to see happen? And, and I get the phone numbers and I have been,
plus we want to know if there's problems.
Sure.
Instead of
Yeah.
having them go right to you, I'd like to know that there's an issue.
Yeah.
Because I have a waste management folder that I've kept all of my contacts with.
And the bottom line is we need to get to that point where we are getting the calls. We need to get back to that point.
We did it for so
We've
long.
had it,
Yep.
we had it right for so many years, and it's been recently, and, we gotta change that.
And you're not the only business to have staff shortage.
I know.
That is understandable. But yet, it still has to get done.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Well, I
we're
think
gonna
the
sign a
hardest-
contract, we need to honor the contract.
The
That's it.
hardest part for our constituents, the people who are calling me, is that there's an increase in price and there's been a decrease in
In
service.
service.
I mean, it's just bad business, so.
Well, we're working hard, and we'll continue to work hard to change that.
I have one more address I was trying to look up, but it's not listed under that address. It's listed as a whole quarter section
Okay.
that somebody else owns, so they just rent the place. I know about where it is. I'll have to get that address for you. I think they might have just given up after, and it was going through the summer. They just kept getting missed. And I don't know if they were setting it out the wrong day or what the deal was, but they had been doing it for years, and they just finally gave up putting it out. So I'll try and get that address to you and then tell them they need to start putting it out again.
Okay.
Hopefully they got the schedule. If they didn't, I'll give them a copy.
I don't have a problem contacting them, see what schedule they've got.
If nothing else, if you get that address, send them the new schedule to make sure. That would,
So, and if you could also research or check, there are people who have way too long lanes or way too steep of lanes. If there was a place where you could provide a spot for registered people or something to drop off their recycling at a site.
even if they stopped at the office at Central Disposal and went just past the office to that, at least they,
Something.
because they're not supposed to proceed past the scale without checking in, right?
Yeah. And it's not gonna be a dump trailer full, it's gonna be, it's gonna be 2 bags
Yeah.
that somebody's walking in with. I feel like if we're servicing 850 people and we're paying 1,000 people, maybe that other 150 people would drop off their recycling.
Okay.
And it's because they're 90 years old and can't drag that big cart down the lane or something. I feel like if we're paying for that kind of, let's make sure that everybody is getting the service. I mean, I know they are because they have the opportunity to, but are they using it?
Okay.
So,
Could you put this cart inside? So like you said, you could drive up and go in, and that way you have listed your address, and then it goes into a waste management recycle area?
Oh,
Instead
you
of
mean
having
like
it on
the-
the outside,
Like the drop, the
like have a
site
drop site, but inside,
can only open certain hours, that's something I can look at.
That's
maybe,
what- That's
and
what I
that
was
way,
emphasizing, just past the shack where they have to
so you
go.
have control over it.
yeah, and you wouldn't get the businesses or anybody else dropping off, you would know exactly what address is using it.
Okay.
And you would see.
I don't know.
I've got that
I'm
written
guessing you
down.
have it.
I personally would use that. You know, that type of business setup.
Well, are we going to, was there any changes in the contract that we need to make then before we approve anything? If that 90 days is in there and,
I don't know if you proposed, I haven't seen anything new that you proposed, I didn't get it.
but that 90 days is in there.
Yeah.
So that's the big.
I think the other thing we discussed would be a 90-day also if the county wanted to start their own program. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I don't know how serious you are about that, but it wouldn't be anything to,
Well,
we could put it in there.
I think that's a budget item that would take a lot of budgeting, planning before we could implement it. I don't know.
I would say it's not likely.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was, how many? This is
That
the
was-
old one?
That's the old one.
It's the current one that I.
Yeah.
So if we signed this today, the contract would.
We don't have a contract to sign. We would need to say, please
Produce.
get us a
I would
contract.
produce a contract
Okay.
for approval.
In that respect, maybe you should put something in there about the self.
It wouldn't hurt,
program.
the self-hauling or yeah. We do have several other counties that they have that in there, because you never know. I mean, in 2 years down the road,
Because if
a
we're,
grant could come up or.
if
it
we're
could
gonna
become
start a
feasible.
program like that, it's gonna be at least 6 months before
Yeah.
we could implement something.
Yep.
It's not gonna be.
All right,
Well, are we in agreement then that we'll have him put together the contract with the clauses needed?
review it next week and make a decision.
If you have to.
You can get it by next week, can you?
Yep.
Or-
Do you want a motion on that?
Wow.
Or we'll
Yeah,
just,
Put a
okay.
motion on when we don't
Make
have
it
the
happen.
details of the contract
Yeah,
yet.
Okay.
no, it's just, put it on the agenda for next week.
And can you send that contract to all of us, so we have a copy of it to look at it?
Why don't you just send it to Chris and she can,
I can forward it to
Then we're
her.
not
Okay.
replying back to him.
yeah, just send it
Right.
to Chris.
Okay,
Good idea.
I will do that.
All right.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you for your time.
thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, number 3, consider for approval eminent domain board.
Well, I have one agreement of a person, Megan Norland said she would do it for Leland.
Okay,
The 4 City one, haven't been able to connect with her, she was gone again today, I tried last week one time, and she was gone. So I haven't connected with her, so we'll have to delay that one. You wanna just wait with the both of them until we have
Yep.
both names, okay? I don't think there's anything coming up the next week anyways,
don't think so.
not unless Scott's starting some eminent domain stuff.
Ooh,
I keep telling these people that we should never need an eminent domain board because we don't like to be that controversial.
Well, geez, I sure hope not. I mean, I talked to several people about easements per year, and I assure them that if they don't want to agree to it, we'll most likely just do a different project or
Yeah.
change the project so we don't need it.
Right.
And we're looking for people who want to support the project.
Yeah, we're fortunate we don't have the Carver pipeline.
Yeah, what is the need to have, people on a board for eminent domain? Have we always had that?
Yes,
yes.
it's required.
Just in case something comes up, I suppose.
Well, it could be all of a sudden, what if they wanna run a pipeline up through, what if they want a new interstate coming?
Well, and it could be if we have an engineer that just wants to push widening the road out and one person
Yeah,
doesn't
could
want to
come
agree
up,
to
I
it,
guess, yeah.
That's what comes up.
Yeah.
I may wanna run a carbon
Wanna take-
pipeline to my house, there's a lot of CO2 there.
Wanna take the curve out of all the roads, everything straight.
At least the curbs were salted this morning, so.
Roads were
not too
good.
bad. Well, I wouldn't say they were good.
My driveway was horrible, but the roads were good.
And maybe,
The highway is good, but the blacktop on the way here was, that was a skating rink.
Really?
That was terrible. And it was even worse. I bought my dad's old Cadillac from him, and it does not drive like a Cadillac.
Is it rear-wheel drive?
No, it's not even rear-wheel drive, but it's just terrible on you. I'm like, man.
So which road was bad then?
All the way,
42.
the back route to Buffalo Center, 842 and, was that R20?
Yeah.
And understandably slow, and it was almost like they've got a serrated blade evidently, that they go and scrape the ice with.
The graders do now.
Yeah, and it looks like they'd been on there with that, and when your car would almost follow.
It's kinda like snowmobiling in the track.
Yeah,
I noticed that everyone's
Truck
been
one way or
noticing
the
that
other.
serration
Have they?
too. Is it a brand new thing this year?
No,
No.
we've
No.
done it every
We
year.
have
when
had
it's
ice plates
icy.
as long as I can remember, but I've only seen that pattern, that, not very often that it shows up so prominently. I don't know why. I mean, we don't have them on all the time, but this year we've had, almost more hours taking care of ice than snow. Strangely, we get these days where it's like back and forth between 32 and 25 and back and forth, and we've just had sheets of ice on gravel roads. They're
Yeah.
out again today trying to pick at it.
So if you look at my truck out there, you'll notice how 150th was between Highway 9 and what would it be, 440th or 400th? Yesterday, there must have been some semis on it,
Okay.
and the tracks were this deep.
Yesterday, why were semis out yesterday?
My question too,
We've had one day where it's
and
been
it wasn't
muddy.
the person that lives on it. It was somebody went by his house and past the church and just totally disasterized that road.
Really?
Now I'm sure if you drive on it today when it's froze,
Oh, I bet you're not driving 55 on it.
you can see I got half the road on my truck right now. I had to go down and chop ice at our church because it was thawing enough to where it popped loose, Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten down there. We had another function last night, and I told everybody, don't go because it's not worth going on the road. Making it worse.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need to knock it down some, or maybe it evened out with more truck traffic in the
We'll
road.
look at it. I mean, the graders are out today, so they're supposed to, I think they're running their whole routes looking for tails and sheer ice patches.
But when I went east to Lake Leland, the trucks hadn't been on that. It was just kind of greasy is all it was.
How much rain did we even get?
I heard that we got 6/10.
Wow.
Well, that was by Leland, my father-in-law's, so 5,500s, he said. That's a lot of rain to get
Well, that's
on
only a
frozen
mile from this
ground.
road,
On
so
frozen ground, yeah, it's really
Yeah,
cooling
with
up. in
nowhere to
places.
go, yeah.
we don't, might have been feed trucks, we don't know. But it seemed like several,
Okay, you didn't see him?
just saw the tracks.
Okay. I'll also mention that we had a couple of our paved route plows out on Sunday because it was weirdly sticking for a little bit on Saturday, and all of a sudden they got icy. And so we cleaned them up Sunday morning best we could until it got wet. And then working on gravels today. They did make a round on paved routes this morning too. Sanded curbs and intersections.
All right, anything else for secondary roads?
I'll mention one thing too. I sent you a recap on the G14W1 project. And I don't know if you want me to go through it, but we'd used the aluminum plate pipe arch instead of going with twin concrete boxes. And I think we saved somewhere around 42,000 by doing that if that structure lasts 75 years like concrete would. So I was hoping to be more, but I thought that was, worth mentioning that we had some pretty good savings on that project.
How did the crew like working with that once they got going on it?
Not good.
Well, they're not exactly
Well,
sure.
you gotta remember that when we were working on that project, we had one day where it was like 95 and the sun was just beating on it. And that aluminum has kind of an oil on it, slippery, and it was, baking hot. And then we also had days, a lot of days there wearing bibs because it was freezing cold outside. The pumps were freezing and everything. So everything worked against us weather-wise. And then it's just so tedious, there's boxes and boxes of bolts.
Yeah.
And nuts, and
Yeah.
boxes and boxes of bolts and nuts. And so, I don't think they'd be hurt if we never did one again, but, I think it'd be better the second time just with the, kind of a routine built up. They did a nice job, with using our own equipment, bucket truck and skid loader and different things to try and make it work without renting a lift like we thought we might have to do. Overall, concrete box is going so fast, so everybody likes those.
The pictures were interesting, I guess. I guess it would have been kind of fun to be out there and watch stuff.
Yeah.
In live action, but, it's.
I mean,
I was looking at the process where it looked like where they're bolting all together, and I'm like, man, that looks tedious.
Yeah, well, those are the days, maybe wouldn't have wanted to been out there because the guys are probably,
A little edgy.
yeah,
They're
be honest.
echoing through there.
yeah,
I'll guarantee you, I don't like 95-degree weather.
yeah. I mean,
And
so,
working with any metal products.
so, I mean, overall, a lot more manpower to get that thing built.
But I still like the idea of it's one structure rather than
Yeah.
twins.
I like that too. If you go look at their twin or triple cell box culverts, they all have sedimentation problems. And not a lot you can do about it
There's
after
no
the
way
fact.
to hook those together initially in any way?
I mean, they make pretty big boxes, so, we put in twin 10x10 boxes a couple years ago because they're a DOT standard and it was federal aid. They make 20x10 culverts. I don't know if it's cheaper or not, but, it would have been kind of a special design through the DOT and I wasn't really geared up to do that, so. We put, we have some 16x12s, that's as big as we have. And
20x10, that'd be something going down the road too, because they're hauling it there.
yeah, they go the short way down the road standing up if they're that short, so wouldn't be too bad if you had a long enough trailer and all that to make it work, just be heavy. And so, there'd be other considerations before we can pull the trigger on that.
So they have, like, if it's 20x10, they have the 20 going widthwise,
You
or
stand it where the hole's down.
the hole is down and they're short enough, because you can't get above, 14 to 16 feet.
Where they make them
Without
8
having
or
to-
something.
Yeah, I think if they stand, let's see, stand them up and let's see, how does it come? We've got them both ways, I'm trying,
So
remember.
they come in sections, huh?
Yeah, they come in 6-foot sections usually, sometimes down as
So
low
it's
as
only
4.
6 foot or 6.5 foot
Yeah,
tall.
now say that, then I can see that.
That's still heavy.
No,
Yeah, and, we gotta just get the crane as close as we can and as far as they can reach sometimes. I don't think we've had to set twice in a long time, but
all right. Nothing else for secondary road matters, we'll move on to number 5. Consider approval final voucher for ERS swap CO 9581 FF 95K 30N1 bridge replacement.
this is the bridge replacement with the box project on A42, west of Forest City, west of the feed mill. The awarded contract was $187,000 and change, and after all the payments, it was $183,140. So it came a little bit under the award because we went a little short on the pavement removal. The patch was smaller than we expected, just because I'm a little bit conservative about that kind of stuff in the plans. I think we used a little bit less rock than we plan for it too. So nice tidy project, and they did, PCA did a nice job with it. So this is submitted with the final paperwork to close out the project. Any
Yeah, that
questions?
was, a lot of the people that were apprehensive about it were really glad to see how quickly it went.
Yeah, especially since we were,
Despite that, and they had a weather delay in there too, didn't it, rain?
yeah, you know, when they actually got down to it, they had the project almost complete in 4 days, you know, aside from some other
Yeah.
little things that they come back for, but, and we ran D2 on gravel, and that seemed to go pretty well since we treated it in front of the places. Inconvenient, but, you know, where else would you run them? Through Crystal Lake or up through Thompson? It'd be,
Yeah, through Crystal Lake wouldn't have been good.
well, it wouldn't have been good, and we'd still have traffic on those gravel roads anyway. You
Yeah.
know, so at least we're intentional about it, treat the road and make sure the dust is down.
Yeah.
Put up stop signs, try to make it safe. I think it went well.
Did you see any more of where on the reroute then? Part of it, the gravel road? Did it get torn up?
Not that,
Must
not that we couldn't fix, you know, it's like, you get the rumble strips come real, or the washboards come real fast, and then sometimes there's some potholing, but
But it was probably dry this summer, so
pretty dry, yeah. I think we did get a rain in there, but, yeah, I mean, nothing.
probably
nothing
the
terrible.
rain allowed you to get out there and fix it.
Yeah, I talked to a lot of different people who's out there at Christensen Farms.
Yep.
Yeah, it went well. Well, I guess I would consider a motion to approve the final voucher.
Do that yourself.
I could, I guess it's in my district. I'll make that motion then.
I'll second it.
The motion John Bill, second to Derby, to approve the final voucher for the bridge as stated earlier. Rather than go through all that again. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
It just takes one signature from you and, yep, and then one from me, and then I send it on.
Alrighty, auditor's office will discuss drainage matters.
I only have the item on the agenda.
Okay, then we'll move on to number 7. Discuss with possible action, Gene Peterson estate request to private tile out of DD1 sub 1 lat 2 into DD3 sub 4.
So is this called Gene Peterson Estate, or it's her husband's estate?
I think it's listed as,
Do you wanna know all the owners of the property?
yeah, there's a lot.
I have it. It's, Gene Peterson's life estate, Joanne Peterson, Wayne Peterson, and Linda and Doug Thompson. And then Gene Peterson's life estate has remains, Chris and Jason
So
Peterson.
it's a family thing.
Yeah,
So this is where we're rerouting to the west to that other district across the road, correct? This would be not, then it wouldn't be going through the Johnson property then. Right,
Correct.
past that road we were talking about.
Because who's on the west side of the road? Oh, that's the Langrids?
Langroods, then Landies.
Yes, okay.
And is that the road crossing that why you're involved?
Yeah, the original request, well, I don't know if original, but most recent original request came in as a tile crossing permit. And it has some red flags here, obviously, because it crosses the drainage district boundary. And so then, you know, then Chris and I worked together on this, similar to the LaCour tile crossing, but this one's a little bit different because it requires a voluntary annexation. So then these, they'll be in 2 districts at the same time at that point. And they were okay with keeping it that way, and that cleans up a little bit the requirements for reclassifications, anything
So
like that.
when we redo along those trees to the south there, they still have to pay on that then?
Yeah, so if any work gets done on that tile to the south, they'll pay on it.
Okay.
If anything, work gets done on DD3 going west, they'll pay on it. And since they're so far away, they thought their payments would be so small it wouldn't be a big deal in the meantime until it's reclassified, which could be a long time since it was recently reclassified.
So if both of those were to, by chance, get reclassified, then they would only pay into one district then?
I think that's how it would work.
Yeah, both 1 and 3 have been classified recently. So it's gonna be decades before that's reclassified again. Unless there's some other
Yeah.
big project, they both wouldn't need it.
How many acres does it?
That's in the report, Chris, you got that?
52.93 acres.
And Langridge and Landy's are okay with it?
We had some email correspondence and a signature that suggested they're fine with it, but I sent them an agreement that was more formal, that they have to get signatures of all of those parties with interest in the title of those lands.
So they are apprised of it.
Yeah, so I think the agreement was sent to Jeremy Ragnes, who's the contractor on the project, working with the landowners, and he was gonna try to get all the signatures together, I believe.
And how would you handle your road crossing then?
Well, assuming Ragnes Brothers are gonna install the tile, I would say he would just break out that portion of the bill and send it to us directly. It'd probably be the cleanest.
It's not a high traffic road or anything, so they just close it down for temporary.
Sure.
What are your thoughts, Scott, on the owners of the land the tile's going through, the Langridge and Landy's? They can't connect to it?
That's what, Dallas had indicated, is that they wanted to retain this tile for themselves only. I had originally written an agreement that anybody could tie onto it as long as it didn't impact the others. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I just thought that was kind of different, that if you own the land that the tile's on, you do not have access to tile too.
I mean, I don't know what their agreement is, if they're paying for that access or not, or,
It doesn't sound like anybody's paying for anything except for Peterson.
is what it is.
So,
Unless they came up with some separate agreement that,
shouldn't be any separate agreement. I mean, here's the chance to
It's
put it
right
all
here.
in one, yeah.
whatever they want.
So where exactly is this?
North of Rembrandt or Cage Freeze, Iowa now.
Yeah.
You go north of that, on the east side there, you go north a couple miles, 2 miles north. And it's, well, you remember we've had trouble with the tile going around that set of trees, and the roots keep getting out to the trees.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they're trying to get away from. They're north of that quarter north of it.
They're paying for everything
Just
except the
west
road
of
crossing, yeah.
You just mentioned it, it's like I remember something
Mm,
being in that area, but,
3,000-4,000, I don't know.
bring it back to me.
Maybe it won't be that much.
It's not long.
It's pretty
distance
straightforward.
They have to go. It's
You
just,
know, they'll be there already. They'll be using the same tile, and
I can show you on
So
the
the district,
Oh, yeah.
you know, use,
Oh, yeah.
map. See that way on the maps.
culvert that's there, or?
I don't know if there is a culvert anywhere near there. Haven't looked,
Oh,
but
okay.
Just took the map out, so I ripped it in half.
I doubt it. Being as that the tile didn't go there before.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know. I'll
All right,
check.
so,
I'll drive back there. Okay.
let's see.
I know at one time they were lower
Oh,
down
you'd have to go.
they tile in the all of the in the ditch there, like there's no
This
south, but I don't know where
D1
that
sub 1.
went.
Okay. Well, the original application was from. Well, anticipated start date was April 18, 2022.
Up here.
So they've been
That's what's screwed by
trying to
here's
get
lat
this going
4,
for a
but then
while.
it
So
turns
maybe that's what I saw
lat
there.
2, sub 1
When
lat
they
2.
submitted the permit, I assume it was gonna be, they thought it was gonna be approved.
Let's see.
But-
Yeah, right here is probably where that,
Didn't work out that way.
about where that 10 is probably where the Grove is.
Yeah.
See how it goes around the Grove?
Yeah.
And then, here's the Peterson property up here. So they don't have tile in there, district tile in there, but they access that tile.
Yeah.
And they're gonna go over here to that open.
Didn't they put it in that and also DD3?
Right, because some pays it. So they're not request it.
Go directly to that.
Yeah, they'll just go right along the fence line and so that.
Not yet, until we get an agreement. Then I'll want to issue with a notice to just the two
Tile,
landowners.
pipe, everything else is far,
Do a public hearing for the tile and stuff.
And any resistance to it.
You have a drawing that will propose.
Yes, there has been.
That's a report, which I don't have, Chris. Actually, I do have. Just that the last page of it. I mean, I've seen it, but I didn't bring it with me, just the last page.
So Jacobson Westergaard had done an engineering report, and their recommendation is to just reclass the DD3 sub 4 that they're going into, and then DD3, because they'll pay into that. But we need to have the contract signed first to make sure that we're gonna do it, and then we would do the reclass.
That
Or-
probably makes the most sense.
Is that okay?
To do it after the fact, in case the project gets stalled for
Some reason, then we should do it, but yeah,
Once it's there, we know it's there, then go ahead with it.
yeah, so we'll do that in the future.
So there will be one reclass.
Yeah, they're gonna stay in DD1, where they're in now, and they will be in the DD3.
So the reclassification is only in 3 though.
Yes. Yeah. Because that's where they're going into. And they're gonna pay for that cost?
That's what I would understand, they're already under contract with the people who did the
I was
reclass in
thinking
the
it'd be
first
a
place.
lot of reclass there,
It shouldn't be a lot.
determining the acres affected.
Yeah, it won't be a lot.
So that's probably the least of their expenses.
Probably.
I suppose this is Susan's district.
So I don't know what we're actually acting on today. We just needed to get it
Yeah,
moving.
from our department, we're waiting on that landowner agreement so that we can move forward with the notice, the landowner's public hearing, and then approval. And then I guess at that point, then you can authorize the voluntary annexation.
So there really isn't any action to take today, it's just more of a letting you know.
Okay. And we'll move on to open forum.
Thank you.
Yeah, you-
Chris?
You see that schedule already, Scott?
I want to talk fast. I told her to call me early if you guys get ahead of schedule for some reason, because mine always, I got a lot of numbers. So, but all put together and ready to go.
Bullet points.
Yep, I'll try to get it narrowed down for you.
You can have Shauna's
Thanks, Scott.
slot from 1 to 1:30 on Thursday too.
That's the next day? Yeah,
For a follow-up.
yeah, that sounds good.
That's all I got for open forum.
Really?
Yep.
That's boring. All right. On number 9, discussion with possible action conflict waiver for dealers in Coon.
Would you like to call Kelsey, please?
Yeah, as I say, that's not one of them we have memorized. All right, now we pick it up, right?
Pick it
Yes,
up,
please.
and just dial those 4 numbers.
75.
Help me out with the name of the gal we used to work in Kelsey's office that was retired.
Kelly.
Kelsey, this is Bill.
Sorry, last time.
Can you come on down? All right, thank you.
Human trafficking meeting in Clear Lake.
Yeah, she lives down there.
Yeah. It was a really long meeting, but really interesting. I'll put it on the agenda for next week. I'm gonna bring it. See what you guys think.
Which meeting's that?
Last night I went to the one that was in Clear Lake on human trafficking.
Oh,
And we had lots of good information and stuff that we can really bring back, I think, here in Winnebago County. A couple of reels and movies and stuff that can be shown at EMS and law enforcement. And I was hoping even Rotary maybe.
Where did they have that meeting?
They had it at that Zion Lutheran, the hub, that one that's on Main. With a really
Good
great.
morning.
morning.
Oh,
How are you guys?
Good, are you?
Good. Must be a long meeting today.
We're working really hard.
Okay. Well, that's what I figured. but-
Rural recycling is taking up.
Ah.
a lot of the time.
Almost an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that. Is this just about the conflict waiver,
Yeah.
right? Specifically. So I did talk to Mike actually this morning. He called me yesterday. I talked to him this morning on my way into work. He's comfortable with the conflict waiver, and I am too, especially after talking with him. So basically, he said, obviously, they're not gonna do anything that's detrimental to the county because they represent the county. And if there becomes an issue that appears to be unresolvable, they'll just have to withdraw from the ambulance service, from representing the ambulance service. So I'm not aware we've ever had problems with Galloway and his law firm, so I feel comfortable that they would, of course, be honest and everything about any issues that they saw. At the end of the day, you guys get to decide whether to sign the 2080 or not. So if there's something in there you really can't live with, then of course, you don't sign it.
Yeah.
There's no agreement. And we either rework it or whatever it takes. But I have no problem with you guys signing the conflict waiver at this point. And if it becomes an issue, then we can address it at that time. It's not like it's irrevocable.
Yeah.
So that's my position. I don't know if you have any questions.
that makes it simple.
Yeah. And we've worked with them. I mean, I think it'd be good to work with them, frankly, with the ambulance stuff, just because we are familiar with their office and their work, and
Yeah, it's,
otherwise you're gonna get somebody in that you aren't familiar with.
I would be shocked if there ended up being some kind of an issue.
Yeah, and like I said, and if there is, it's not like that's unaddressable. I mean, there's a resolution of that. Might not be ideal, but there's a way to work around it, and
Yep.
hopefully an issue doesn't come up. I don't anticipate there would be, but if there is one, I feel comfortable that they'll make us aware of that and, just withdraw from the ambulance service,
think
not from
everybody
representing
just
us or the city, but
Transparency through the whole thing is
Right.
all that everybody really wants.
sure, that makes sense. So,
Okay, so then we need to take action on, is this with possible action?
Yeah.
Or-
to approve,
So we just gotta approve the fact that we're going ahead with it.
I'll make the motion to approve the conflict waiver with Ayers and Cooney.
I'll second it.
Motion Smith and second Derby to approve the conflict waiver for Ehlers and Cooney. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, number 10.
Hold on, you gotta sign it.
It's amazing how
Ah.
simple you can make.
I try.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I mean, sometimes you just look at something like that and you go, you think
Yeah.
there's all sorts of bad stuff that could happen.
Right.
You know, and then it's just, somebody walks in and says, oh, look at that. Oh, helps a little bit. I like that.
ITS?
Under Winnebago County by, and then it's got, looks like it's,
Can I see it?
there's just another line under there. Usually it's a date or something, but that's about.
Oh. I don't know. That's a
Does
good
it-
question.
does it-
Chairman,
Chairman,
It's
I would,
chairman.
yeah, your position.
it's pronouns.
Oh, that's a
chairman.
weird way to word that, but yeah, by Bill Gensel, that's
That's it.
chairman.
That's,
Yeah,
that's his,
that makes sense.
technical pronoun.
Sometimes it just takes me a while.
Okay, number 10, EMS Advisory Council and Technical Committee draft minutes.
I think, one thing I have always been concerned about and wanted to, that I did emphasize to the 4SC EMS when we met down at their facility was that I want their budget to kind of show how their budget is affected by other counties' financial involvement. And, you know, is that on here? I think it's in everybody's best interest that, you know, they don't have any signed agreements, but maybe, you know, you could have more paramedics serving both, you know, 3 counties with those monies accounted for. And we've always wanted transparency. But I wasn't at either of those meetings, so I'm not sure.
The next advisory council meeting is January 18th at 5:30 here in the boardroom.
Well, I don't think I have to go to any airports to pick people up with delayed flights. I should be able to make that. The one day I go to the airport to get somebody that the FAA has their computer issue. And the ones that were originally gonna pick them up got moved up on something that,
So the technical committee, their next meeting is when?
I don't think they've
I don't think they
Is that
said.
said it yet.
they're gonna meet quarterly on the first Wednesday, March, June, and September, and December.
The technical committee is wanting to see what the advisory council next meetings are, so that if they have information that needs to go to the advisory council, they could get a meeting in and discuss it, so that the advisory council will have that information. Isn't that how you heard it too?
Mhm.
So this proposal here they're talking about is similar to what was proposed at the, prior to the vote.
Right. I think Thomas is gonna present on the 18th at the advisory council meeting. I think he has some updated numbers.
And one thing I noticed in here that was different than what I had seen before is, the supervisor was gonna be voting if there were ties. And here they have the supervisor as a non-voting member.
Partly that was because you get the supervisor gets the ultimate vote in the end anyway, so it was a little redundant.
I was assuming it was something to do with that,
So
because at
there's
the
a-
end, we get to vote on it anyhow. But if there's a tie vote there,
It's a negative,
It's just,
it fails.
yeah,
they have to change whatever they're trying to vote on till,
till somebody,
gets
till they
right.
get a majority.
so that's where that came from,
Okay.
so.
I mean, it made sense to me not to have the supervisor as a voting member on that, just because we do in the end get to vote on it. as much as possible.
We were reprimanded a little bit by one EMS, personnel that, you know, they are also paying for it too. So when we were talking about how you wanted people with skin in the game, when they were not gonna get votes, that they are paying for it too, just like all of the rest of us, you know, so. It was just to remember that it's not just about their job, am I explaining that right? You know, but they are also constituents here,
Well, most of them are probably taxpayers like the rest of us.
that's what they were
But
saying.
they
So
are
it's
the
good.
ones that, the taxpayers that have somewhat of a conflict of interest.
That's exactly right, so
So, I mean, it's,
it was a point taken, but just so you know.
it's not necessarily that I think there would be any kind of an issue. I would hope there wouldn't be, but there are some people in the public that really get
They don't want that
stuck on
conflict.
that one.
It's also
Yeah.
about perception.
Yes.
They don't wanna load up a board with people that have conflicts.
They were both really good meetings.
Yeah, no, I was disappointed today. I wanted to be there, especially when I found out how long it was going. I'm like, oh my goodness sakes.
Lots to determine when you're putting bylaws together and stuff, there's just a lot of stuff. Which really, we should run all that stuff past you and make sure that there's not something glaringly goofy.
Yeah, that's fine. If you send it to me.
So, was these numbers here, was what they presented as a recommendation, or that was just what was presented?
That was just what Joe
Presented.
presented.
And you say they're coming with some updated numbers for tomorrow night.
I think that's the plan.
The one person I talked to that was on there, and was watching his screen, there was one number that he wasn't showing, it kept popping up in green, and that was the numbers from the other counties. So he had it figured into their budget, but just not showing people. And that kind of upset them.
Well, and then Joe said that he wanted, decided that the EMS, or that the Forest City Ambulance Service wanted rent for the building and for the ambulances and, or their cars that they use. And I thought that was the point of not getting the money from the calls, the county, because that was going to be the wash. And now all of a sudden they want money from us for rent and so.
So those are the things that are really gonna have to be ironed out, really looked at closely on that budget, because everybody was just kind of looking at that original one that was put out before the vote. So we all kind of said that was never set in stone. This was a proposed plan that was presented to the voters.
The other thing that Joe continually says is that we're gonna give him, pay him a quarterly or a monthly fee, and that they're going to do with money what they want. And that's not how county government works. We pay them, we either pay the claim or we reimburse for the payroll or however it works. We don't just give money up front and let them spend it however they want to.
It's gonna stay in account, it's gonna stay in account at the account.
Yes. They're a 501c3, and we can't just give that money to them and let them use it willy-nilly.
They've gotta give us some kind of
That'd be kind of a pain to give them the money and then go begging to them for the information after the fact.
Right. I'm not doing that.
I assume that's something you'll iron out, like in the 2080 agreement.
Mhm.
That's just the whole transparency.
Well, that's just the way it's gonna be. I'm not gonna vote for anything that doesn't have that in it. So-
And where those reserves, was there questions about where those reserves were gonna sit or be too?
Well, and that's the whole point, is we have a fund at the county that's intended for that, and that we used to use years and years for the EMS training fund and so it's already set up.
Did anybody hear that announcement from Adam and Greg yesterday about trying to assimilate some of the programs in Israel? They have like 6,500 responders in Israel on little motorcycles that go out and respond to an incident. They're trying to do something. They're going to have some grant program or something to try to implement it on the rural level in Iowa.
Oh, really?
I was trying to look it up. It doesn't give much information, so it might be timing-wise, might be a good thing to try and.
Not on
Tap into that.
motorcycles, though, huh?
No, but it'd just be using.
So they say we don't have the
mobile
condensed population.
Sounds like it would go through the cell phone service. Everybody available would get this notification, and then I don't know how they
Oh, I
would
did hear
respond.
something about that, yes. Now that you say that, it was just gonna be a notification and anyone who was close.
You go help,
Yeah.
whether you're
I don't know.
EMS personnel or not.
Well, I think if
I
you're
think
on
it
that
is.
list.
Oh, you've got, oh.
So it'd be interesting to see how that transpires, what kind of availability is. I know, I think there was another program that was gonna be applied for startup systems too, for some monies. So I think there's some grants available out there. I think Jason's pretty good at running down those monies.
The other question I had is, where are you going to pay Jason out of?
I mean, for this year, going down the road.
Now,
That wasn't budgeted.
what?
We didn't budget for it.
And that,
And the money doesn't come in until next September, so.
How does our budgets for reimbursements look right now? I should look, probably came out not that long ago for December. I didn't know, last year, I think we took parts of our reimbursements, can we transfer something we think might not be needed in there? And transfer it to another, I don't know what one that would be,
I can have Chris run it.
because we're over halfway through the year. And
How did we leave the writing up of those bylaws that we talked about? Were you writing up some of that stuff, or is?
I emailed him to you.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Since say, I thought I read them somewhere.
Sometimes I forget and read only the last thing.
Go through each one of them to figure
There
out
it
which
is.
one's the right
It's
one.
right in the middle. I started from both ends and ended up right in the middle.
Yeah, there gets to be a big old slew of them in a row right there.
Yeah. So, let's see. Under- Yeah, looks like we cut those back this year, so we didn't have as much. So it'd be, let's see, starting, that's mine, your, mine, so. That's it.
Fire. Mileage.
Be better off like this. There. See, on yours, well, it's hers, is 89%, 73.
Remaining.
Yeah, but mine, I just did 400, so.
Mine is, I've got a bunch I gotta turn in, so
Right.
mine's gonna change
No, I think this is good, thank you.
considerable too,
But I know it's like we knocked it down this last year to,
yeah.
there's not much available there.
You have any suggestions on where it should come out of, or whether it might be room, or?
Well, in the past, we used to have a salary out of 54, but it doesn't look like we have that anymore.
Anything we're not gonna use this year that we
Yeah.
planned on.
Yeah, well, it seems like there's always couple of things that we have in there that are just in case things.
There is a salary out of 11. It's a part-time, extra help part-time. But it's not just rural.
You looking for something just in rural?
No, I said there's a salary in rural, but that wouldn't work because it's not just rural.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could probably use
That would be nice if each one of the emails that we get on
Had a title.
had the title on the email, because then it's just, you just hit it and find out what it is, you know. So, what were you
too bad there isn't anything.
I'm looking.
I was just wondering, can we call it some kind of consulting for starting a program?
I think we can put it in 54 until the program starts.
I'm just, well, what I was wondering, is there some way to take it out of ARPA and call it consulting for
Oh.
starting a program or something?
I don't think so. Not, I don't know.
So that's basically what we're doing. And then the first of the year, then it'd be that as the title.
It can't just be part of part-time staff.
For what department? We're talking between now and July 1,
Oh,
because it'll be part of that, won't it be part of the budget going, this budget year?
The other thing that Daisy kind of reminded me of was, it's not budgeted in there, so they're not very happy that we hired somebody and are using those funds.
Gotta do it though.
Yeah, what's the option?
yeah, who else is gonna do it?
I know, I'm just telling you what
Just
I was
imagine if
told.
we had to be paying $40,000 a year and budgeting it.
Mm-hmm.
The other question came up from a mayor that may be providing space, is that he had concerns that if they're charging rent over in Forest City, and
Sure is fair.
Thompson's providing free space, how is that fair?
Yeah, that's,
Like I said, I think that's the,
sounds like it should maybe just be a wash to me.
That's why
Or we gotta be fair. If we're gonna pay one, we gotta pay the other.
that's why we asked for a revised budget so that this group could go through it line by line and say, disseminate each one and go, oh, what's this gonna pay for, where is it gonna go? Have we duplicated it somewhere else? They're gonna have to really look at it.
He wasn't even sure if the council was gonna go along with something that allowed Forest City EMS to occupy space.
Lots of give and take is gonna have to happen.
Well, in Forest City got a big break, went down from paying 80% to paying for 15% of this whole thing, as far as the paramedic services.
Well, when you say 15%, is that 15% of the county?
Well, they're 15% of the county
Right.
tax base, so roughly it's gonna
So when you say Forest City, the residents of Forest City,
Yeah, that's
not so
city
much the
limits.
city itself.
And rural people are paying for much more than anybody else, so therefore,
And where's the $75,000 gonna go that we aren't offering anymore, right?
Through July or through June 30th, it's still there.
Yeah.
We're still paying it.
But then after that,
After that, it's gonna go out of our budget.
and where does that go? I mean,
tax relief.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was gonna
it's
say,
just
that
not
is-
part of our budget.
just not, yeah.
it just disappears.
We won't levy for that. It'll be on, instead on that special levy.
Tax relief, I like that.
There you go.
Well, I mean, it's not technically tax relief because of the 75 cents or more than that, but
Yeah,
Right.
it's not going down, but it's not going up as much as if we left that 75 in there.
I know there were fears that we keep that 75 still in there
That's
to
what,
cushion
that's
this.
why I mentioned it too, because there was like, you're not, that's not staying, right?
I haven't been on that page ever.
No, either.
Well, I can add a part-time salary to Department 54 until
Until we
July
get to
1st.
July 1st.
Because what's that even amount to?
1,200,
So
yeah,
1250.
1,250, I suppose, 2,500 for full years.
I'll probably have to do a budget amendment because that's a pretty tight budget, but I don't know what else to put in. Nancy Recorder's budget, she'd like to be seen today.
Oh, did they hit it? There's a conflict with Thursday. I just want to say,
She said she's gonna be gone Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
For training.
I don't know
Well,
what's,
isn't it that new officers workshop
I
coming up?
don't know.
Yeah, it's usually about now. Right during budgets.
there's a couple things in here that we give it away that it's the quarters on. When I was first looking at it, I was about to ask, where is this from?
I always think it's funny when the telegraph services line,
Oh, yeah.
that's just
Telephone
so,
and telegraph.
it's just so vintage, you know?
Mhm.
It's probably only left in there just because of that reason.
It's kind of cool.
Or is it some kind of an
We need to
official?
have a closet that says telegraph services.
I think so too. I wanna run it.
I don't know if I ever told you the story about my dad when he went into the Army. They trained him to be a telegraph operator
Really?
as part of the signal corps. He gets over to Korea, and they no longer, they just use radios.
Yeah.
It's like he never even used it.
Well, there was a gentleman from Buffalo Center that used to be an informational center. And the old joke was that the means of getting the word around in Buffalo Center were the telegraph, the telephone, and the telecarrier.
Every town has one.
And he was probably the most efficient.
Every town, every church.
So is this when we would just bring her in if she's?
Yeah, I told Bill to call her. Or I told her we'd have Bill call her.
So now's the time to call.
I'm gonna go past there, I'll just tell her that we're ready.
All right.
Okay.
All right, so we're on to discuss budgets.
Yeah.
up with the magistrate using this area? They
It
started?
hasn't started yet. Not till February.
Oh, we just started remodeling.
Mhm. Morning.
All right,
Good morning. We going to be using compensation board today?
What do you want?
They haven't even seen the budgets yet, so,
yeah, that's what we're waiting for, was to,
because I think they're hanging out for that. Sort of.
I have, well, after she's done, I'll talk to her.
Hello.
Hi.
Looks like we're all here now. So if you want to go ahead and get started.
Okay, so first time through this, so you'll have to let me know if you have questions, but I did review this with the previous recorder before she left in December, so we reviewed it together, came up with the budget as what she thought we needed to be looking at moving forward, so I appreciated her input there. You'll notice that there wasn't a lot of changes except for in the necessary places with the compensation board recommendations that's put in there for the salaries. And of course, FICA and IBER's health insurance is all by the recommendations that were given to us in the previous letters. And then with the increase in mileage, we did adjust that a little bit. With myself being new, we felt that it was appropriate to add an additional $200 for possible travel. That would take
Plus
me
the
away.
rate- The rate went up.
The rate did go up to 60.65. So just wanted to make sure we had a little bit of cushion there with extra travel that may happen in the next year. With myself being new, going from county to Hancock County if needed for some training and or other events down in Des Moines or other areas.
So my biggest question would be on the imaging. Where are we at on imaging, and does this include the ARPA money we had put towards?
I believe she did spend some of that and there was some still remaining. And so that is still in there, but what that is, I'd have to go back and look at what that is. For sure.
Dollar amount that we did.
We had 100,000 for the two offices, right?
Mhm.
So I know she did use some, but she did have some remaining and they are still working on
You know how much she used?
indexing.
And the ARPA money's in the ARPA fund, not in the recorder's budget.
Right.
It's in the ARPA fund.
So it's money that's not coming out of my budget, it's coming directly out of the ARPA.
Okay, so there's no activity this year in this budget because it's going through the ARPA.
Right.
So would we need these monies in here? Should they just be redirected to the ARPA fund?
I think with the imaging funds, that is still with the indexing that we're doing on our own time. And we pay that Imaging Inc., I believe it is, for that service. Is that part of this budget?
Is that
Oh, so
something
this
that
is
can be part of
separate
it?
from
Yep.
the other money is given for other imaging. That-
Yes,
Oh,
I believe so.
okay.
I just assumed all these would go through the ARPA funds.
No. So I think there was, correct me if I'm wrong, Carla, but wasn't there a specific use for that monies that could be used?
I don't know what Chris was doing for which, I don't know.
Because we, in our discussions, we wanted to accelerate it and get it all done with that $100,000.
Yep.
You know, we had been imaging over the years in the
Yeah.
recorder's office.
And there's still some that is not completed yet.
I don't think, because the 50,000 that you gave the recorder's office, I don't believe that's enough to get the recorder's office done.
Oh, so they still needed it in their
I
budget.
think so.
Okay. I was thinking the same way you were, Terry. I guess I was thinking that money was gonna,
Take it out, take care of it.
Yeah.
No, because we're still indexing and updating that.
So you guys do the actual imaging and then that company does all the indexing to identify, you know, tag it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the part that's going through the ARPA funds is what then? What imaging there is being done?
The previous documents, the old books.
The old books. Well, that was my only question.
Yeah, it's mostly just normal increases or,
Inflation,
which unfortunately is realities.
whether it's mailing or mileage or
Yeah,
telegraph or
Yeah,
yeah, it's that
Isn't that
telegraph. It's
telegraph
just a tough
that's,
budget breaker, right?
And our postage and mailings, will increase with the activity that we've been having with the passports as well, so it will increase as that keeps rising. We've seen a significant increase on passport mailings.
so the current health insurance increase was estimated at 10% for budgeting, right?
Mhm.
We don't have any idea what we're gonna come in.
They said we won't get the numbers till April.
I was gonna say, we're not gonna have another April surprise, are we?
I don't think so. I think it'll actually be lower, to be honest, but
Because the claims have been less.
I just think we need to
Know
be,
until April, you kind of have to be proactive.
I think we need to be careful
Yeah.
and just budget ahead, but I think it'll be a surprise on the lower end of this year instead of the other way.
So refresh my memory from last year, our actual increase in our insurance was only ended up in what, 2%, but then we also put partial set funding back in, or
Say that again?
our last year to year increase, did it end up being like at 2%, but then we also increased our
No,
self-funding?
last year was 25%.
It did end up being 25. I thought we had part of it where did we start partial self-funding last year? But that's part of that, isn't it?
It is part of that.
Yeah, but the actual, I thought was much lower.
No, the actual was like,
It was much lower than 49%.
Yeah.
it was, I can't remember, it was, oh, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was still maybe like 15 or 20, and then we put the partial self-fund on top of that. So it was still crazy high. It's what a really bad year it'll do.
Hers, our budget went from 72.8 to 94. I don't know if that reflects actual percent increase or just change in family or whatever. Last year to the next, the year before to the last year, or this year, I guess.
Did you just do a 10% increase on top of the 94?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take a look at that and see. I can double check that.
Because you're looking at only a 21,000 activity. Just wondering
Yeah, I'll double check that
if
one.
we're overestimating that too.
Because I think at one time we came in lower and then you asked us to go up to 10. 'Cause I think we had budgeted, when we were working together, it was like 8.5. And then she got the news to go to 10, so that's where the.
But what we're looking at is what we actually budgeted for this year.
Oh, I
if it's
see.
accurate.
Okay, thank you.
It might be over budgeted this year.
Sure, okay,
We
I
may
see
be able
what
to
you're
start lower
Yeah.
Yeah.
and add 10%.
sure, thank you.
Because you look at the actuals, and it's only
Yeah, it doesn't
21,000.
make, it
Right.
doesn't make sense, so. Yeah, I'll take a look at it.
Otherwise, I did a pretty good job putting it together. But you had expert help too.
I did. I was glad to be here for that month of December with Chris. She was very helpful with some of these first things. We didn't see any reason to add or take away anything significantly. Everything's pretty standard.
All right.
Business as usual is good.
It is. No surprises.
Well, I think is that all we have for her then?
Yep.
Okay,
She's ready to go.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yep,
Until we change our mind.
that's fine.
So I worked yesterday and got at least some of the budget put together. I put in the levy rates from last year just to see where we'd be at. I get in the revenues,
You talking the first page?
what's that?
You talking first page?
I am talking, let's see, page 4 is where I put in the revenues, not the revenues, the levies from last year. Page 6 is where I put in the revenues. And then page 7 to page 14 is where I put in all the expenditures. Page 14 at the end shows you kind of where the ending balances will be with the, with what I've got in so far.
So you
Obviously, everything's not perfect so far,
So
because
you have numbers put in to account for this then? Or what are you using for budget numbers?
I am using everything that everybody has given me so far.
Is everything there, or
Who's
there's still
missing?
short some?
Yeah, what's missing?
What's missing? Mental health is missing, I know that. I'm trying to think. I don't have in, the tip yet, but that shouldn't make a difference really on anything.
The tip
That-
income or expense?
Well, I don't have that in. So that's kind of a wash, and that shouldn't make a difference on anything we're looking at today.
I know our revenue should be higher coming in from TIF. We're
Mhm.
gaining 5% on 2 different projects. Or what do you call it, 20%?
So my beginning balances probably aren't perfect. I put in last year's ending balance, and that is just a starting point, just for something to put in
Did you
at this
happen to
point.
get from NIACOG, the Regional Emergency Response Groups levy?
Yes,
Okay. Curious how that came out compared to last year when you reconfigured because of census and I hate it when they don't give you a side-by-side comparison last year to this year.
I can get that for you.
I know we did better than others on population. I think our percentage of the budget went up for the region slightly.
Okay.
Hancock went down more than we did.
Where did you get that information?
I was at a meeting.
Oh.
I'm actually the vice chair now.
Oh.
It's a bad thing about being there so many years, you end up moving up in this. I'm the chair of the transportation policy, vice chair of the regional emergency management.
You see, you keep yourself as a real controversial figure, they don't want to move.
So when are you gonna have
Now
that
you
class? We'll have to put it on the agenda so it's part of a legitimate class. Yeah, the last meeting we had the supervisor from Hammond County Regional Emergency Management. What's his name, Costad or whatever his name is. Nice guy. He just likes to ask a lot of good questions, and they were very valid questions that emergency response was. But the problem was we had such a long program before that about carbon pipelines. And so when we got the budget, it overlapped into our transportation policy, and we had to start the transportation policy meeting in another room. So, I mean, people left one meeting to go to the other, because not everybody serves on both.
Yeah.
I was the chair, so I had to go to the other room. It was a mess. Daisy's pumped about that transportation policy.
Well, good for her.
Lots of things she's learning there. And understand why none of the mayors want to serve on it. She works with budgets, so.
A budget geek.
Did find out in that one that supposedly, according to Kevin Kramer, the bus guy in charge of all the transit, we keep getting bumped back on purchase of buses, and it's because of availability of buses and the price going up like 30-some%.
Yeah.
And it's because Warren Buffett bought 6 different bus companies and consolidated production into one facility in Indiana.
Oh, really?
And so,
How's that legal?
it sounds like a monopoly, doesn't it?
Yes.
Really does.
Well, I think they like monopolies. There are a lot of things that should be not as big as they
I
are.
think it's all under Thomas now.
That just shouldn't
It
be
sound-
right.
It sounds like hardly anybody's buying into the electric buses.
All that stuff is approved by the people that we elect. And it goes before whatever the committee would be for.
Oversight or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I guess that might be under commerce.
And how they cannot think that some of the things are as big as they are, at least in a region, to be honest.
All depends on who's asking.
All depends on, now, if I was making money off of it, I'd have a different opinion.
Okay, so, to question. Well, I would hope we can lower the levy. I got horse evaluation. Where's that number that's valuations?
Or have to lower the emergency medical services, because the 75, as you can see, made too much money, so.
Because of the increased valuations.
Yep.
So you're saying as of right now with our valuations are higher than what we estimated when we were going through the vote? Okay. So are we gonna table the compensation board one again until we see all the budgets?
So what's left? Mental health? Who else? Budgets?
I think pretty much everybody else is in there. The mental health really isn't, shouldn't be that
Not a
much.
big, yeah.
Guess what's your wishes?
Valuations being the way they are, my guess is there's probably gonna be enough to still be able to keep the levy at least where it's at. Or do you wanna wait and see the exact numbers?
What was our target number on the vote, the ballot vote?
478.
Do we know what that income tax is gonna be?
We don't know, but the estimate was 90,000.
Based on a year or two ago.
Yeah,
But-
Well, we were basing that on estimating with another county and prorating and, yeah, that's about
Somebody at
all
one of the
we could.
meetings was saying that it was probably gonna be 40. Where did I hear that?
Or you-
I think that was, somebody said, it could be anywhere from 90 to 40.
Oh,
I mean, it's one of those things where, for instance, our local option sales tax, our numbers come in up here, but we never estimate income more than this. We don't wanna overspend something that might not come in. So it looks like just estimating off just what I can see on EMS. That, it looks like it's about a 6.6 or almost 6.7% increase in valuations. If you look at those two numbers. What do you think, Susan?
I don't have a crystal ball. The feedback that I've been getting on compensation board recommendations have been favorable.
I haven't talked to anybody that's got any issues with it, one of which two people have talked to me about it.
to have, probably had more shock last year. I mean, just that inflation rate last year shocked everybody. This year, they're kind of used to it.
I guess my gut feeling is we'd be okay approving the compensation board recommendation at this point, because I don't think there's gonna be an issue. Do you foresee anything coming up that might be unexpected on that?
I mean, I've got pretty much all the numbers in here except mental health, and I mean, I know there's a lot of work yet to do on the budget, but it's just, and I guess, to be honest, I don't care what you do with it. I'd like to get it nailed in, because I need to know what we're doing with the budget by February 7th. It needs to be done.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
So if we approve it today, then it's nailed in, right?
Yeah,
I'd make the motion to approve the compensation board recommendations.
I'd second that.
Yeah, motion John Wall, second Smith, to approve the compensation board recommendations. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Oh, that makes your job easier then.
Okay, consider for approval semi-monthly county claims. Let's see.
I see we got a cat grader.
Yes.
You guys didn't get the cat grader, did you? That wasn't in your budget?
Was that in your budget?
$330,000 road grader?
Chase down a criminal with that.
What do you,
Probably could have used it during the snowstorm.
what are you guys
Yeah.
currently paying for squad cars?
So,
Just for the car?
38,000.
I was gonna say, I was right close to 40, if I'm
50
right.
for a truck.
And that's for an Explorer or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, they're gonna be.
and all the
40.
concessions went away.
Yeah.
Pretty much the price it is what it's gonna be. They really didn't have any rebates or anything.
So is that the old price or the new price?
That was last
That was
year's.
last year's.
Okay,
So I mean, it's gonna be over 40.
over
this year.
40 probably.
Yep.
We're trying to figure out EMS purchase a vehicle and
Yeah,
It'd be nice if they brought back the government concessions.
And from what I'm told, Cadillacs don't work well.
No, they don't. I tell you what, my Cadillac didn't drive like a Cadillac this morning. I've never driven a vehicle that was so squirrely on the ice. Maybe the tires aren't that bad.
place on 106 across from Newman in Mason City, they got all those old hearses.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. One,
Is that one where you switch hats?
oh,
I guess it's too late.
One of my old classmates from when I was in grade, began her, family in a back end of a guy that he hit a verse. He had it jacked up. It was, why
There was a
popped
church in
my head.
Clear Lake that had a hearse, and one of those old hearses parked in front of it with a U-Haul hooked up to it behind it, just for a little visual impact. That was funny.
Next appointment. Yep, thanks guys.
Sorry, we need to
All right.
wait around down
No worries.
Yeah, I hope you guys have a boring rest of your day.
Yeah. It's a Monday on a Tuesday.
There you go. You guys all get a chance to look at the county claims?
Yeah, I went through it this morning.
Yeah, I went through it. We got it, what was it, last Friday or something?
yeah, I don't,
Seems like you got the email.
Yeah, but I didn't look at it till this morning.
Yeah. I actually,
I had my
Saturday.
I had my Outlook go down. It took me a while to restart my computer a couple times
Oh,
and
no,
it didn't come back.
Uh,
I'll make a motion to approve the semi-monthly county claims.
I'll second.
Motion from Derby, second from Smith to approve the semi-monthly county claims. All in favor, say aye.
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 We can check if payroll's ready.
I didn't see the grader in there.
Oh,
Would be fun to have
I
one.
think I screwed up the date.
Oh.
Oh,
Yes, you
so
did.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
You know what happens at
Oh,
Just by.
Yeah, yeah. Naughty time out here.
wow, I really.
So
truly-
this one, what's the date? It's this, it's the 17th.
What?
It's the 17th.
Oh, good.
That's what this says anyway.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right then.
No, we're the 17th.
Here, I was second guessing myself.
Oh, yeah, see? You know, just
I
when we
got it.
It's
thought,
even the right year.
Wow.
just when we thought we could ridicule.
I was
Failed
given you
attempt.
ammunition, wasn't I?
Yeah.
What's this?
Why do I have this? I don't know where this came from. I had it blue a little bit ago.
Find another one, huh?
What I did with it. See, I had blue before and then I went to.
I got mine from over here, so.
So this resolution for the comp, does that get stamped just
Yep.
received or approved or
approved.
We
approved?
just approved it.
Even though there's all three of our signatures on it.
Well, that may not need to be stamped.
What do you have?
Well, no, it was still approved.
It's gotta have, did it have a date on this? Yeah, it's got a date.
So just
Alright.
leave it be? Okay. Look, I'm getting better at that too. It'll take me a full year.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're a quick learner. You'll figure it out.
I don't care what Bill says about you. You're doing okay.
Thanks, guys.
I can't even go to Sally's.
What meeting you got today?
I'm the only one available to, well, maybe Kinsey could. I'm not
Maybe you
sure.
were headed to mental health or something.
No, my mother-in-law, somebody's gotta take her to the doctor.
Mm.
Well, there should be a line item B2 on some of this stuff. Print it out pretty, so the ugly handwriting like mine's in.
Oh, here's that Johnson property bill then.
I just took pictures of it.
How did it go then?
I think that's really reasonable if it fixes.
Compensation board thing, does that need
He
to
made
be
it
stamped
sound-
approved, or is
Nope.
that
Jerry made
signature?
it sound like it was
Signatures.
like last 10 years or more. So,
So we're waiting for the treasurer's office to approve the claims, and Chris is working on proofreading the payroll. So we're just waiting for those two things.
So are we gonna have to go after Tyler for not performing a contract on this problem with our software? Are there other counties going after him? Just one department? But I've heard there's other, same department in other counties that are having some of the issues.
the county ones are printing right now.
Okay,
Haven't heard that stamper going very much.
Name stamper or
Yeah,
the
the
me
name
stamper?
stamper.
That, you know, and I looked at my desk this morning, and it's right up there, just a little left
You use a
center.
Google Calendar to remind you of stuff?
I've never put that reminder in there, but I may have to.
For tomorrow, just bring it tomorrow, then you can store it.
Yeah, there you go, I put it in now. But you know, the signing isn't as intrusive as it used to be. That, my hand feels a lot better. And evidently Susan did take her advice
Hitting it hard?
to go to the Mike Stentrud School of Stamping.
Well, I have,
You get
I
that
think
wrist, you gotta get that wrist snap.
I'm gonna have to get better at it because, or harder, because I think the ink is drying up a little in here.
One coach used to say, it's just like, you gotta do it just like volleyball, but you're always aiming for somebody's face.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
thank you.
So she was telling me that Solutions got bought out,
Mhm.
all the people that developed this latest solutions are gone.
Well,
So it's not a solution anymore.
well, that's the other problem, is
Yeah.
it's not as good as what it used to be. Nothing can be little anymore, you know.
Of course it is, if they don't service your old program, you're stuck.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's where we were at.
Yeah.
And I don't wanna be the last one on an old program that doesn't get updates. Cause then you got problems when the state makes all these changes that they've been making, and they're not servicing that problem, and you fall behind in compliance, then where you at? That's a problem too.
Yeah, that's
Moving on wasn't necessarily the wrong decision. The fact that it just didn't go as smoothly as what we were told it was gonna be. And if they've been good about trying to resolve issues, or are we being stonewalled at some for what? Alright.
Because everybody knows there's always gonna be learning curves, and there's gonna be bugs and stuff. It's just if you can go with the flow.
Have some issues with shaking. Just a little blurry, because of the glasses.
No, I'm pretty steady, actually. Oh, Carla,
I'm steady too, just as
what
steady.
the heck is that? That's scary.
I'm just fine,
Really?
yeah, just fine.
No, this is the, oh, this is, sorry, I thought this was
Tremors.
claims, we haven't got the claims yet.
Tremors.
All right, never mind. Well, this is saying as a co-chair,
Can't hurt, right?
I thought it was the claims.
So, Carla, I went to the human trafficking last time you put, can I break that down as mileage, or is that not a thing?
Was it county sanctioned?
I went to it because I thought I could bring back information after making that, would we make that resolution for human traffic?
So was it by the Secretary of State, or was it?
No, I mean,
I
it's
would,
fine if
I would
didn't.
ask Elizabeth.
Okay,
She's in our
I mean,
office.
it's not a big deal, it's, I just was doing mileage and wondered.
I would ask Elizabeth. If it was, like, if it was one of your committees or something that, I would say yes, but if it was just, you decided to go to it,
Yeah,
to,
it was more
Get
that I knew
information.
that we had done that proclamation or whatever that
Mhm.
was called
yeah.
to resist human trafficking. And
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I'll go with whatever Elizabeth says.
so, you're on Rotary. I'd like you guys to look at this program that was presented to
I need to get that
the
stamp.
I was gonna say, you thought it was easy.
Yeah.
Comes
I
a
have
day.
a-
Well, the longer
I
it
have a
goes, the
program
worse
in
it
April
gets.
that I
Salaries
need to find
and-
something for, so,
It
And,
was,
no, I shouldn't have signed it.
Oh,
when she,
hold on, this is payroll.
just to have
Yeah, I
them
thought
know.
it was plain.
Oh, yeah.
the actual.
Nice try.
Oh.
Paid or received? Do you know which one she marked? Probably.
Let's go look in there.
All right, because I checked, they're good. So. You go? You go?
Oh, Valerie's been there for quite a while. Olski.
Mm.
She's the one that. Good. My daughter worked with Valerie over at the extension office in Thompson years ago.
Oh,
She was kind of the part-time person for the fair. You know. She's been there, gosh, 5, 6 years.
goodness.
I colored her hair though.
Well, maybe that's it.
She's more brown than red.
Uh-huh. So, Phil, is there any reason you'd want me to stick around tomorrow night for that meeting? After we're here all day? There you go. Ooh, there it is.
Should I be at that to be apprised or
That's what I was wondering, if it would make some sense to have.
just to listen or?
Well, I wanted to have at least a visit with you about it all, I guess. It's, if there's more than one of us gonna be there, we'll have to have a.
Is it posted already?
What's that?
Tomorrow night's meeting,
Tomorrow night's meeting?
EMS.
Not yet, because I have 24 hours to get it posted.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you got a little time yet.
Yep.
It's probably critical.
Just in case, put it on there that we all might be there or whatever.
Yeah, I'll post it. It'll be posted anyway, but,
All right, oh, you, just in case. All right.
well, it's a public meeting anyway,
I
so.
think it's gonna, I mean, we did a lot of good work last week, but, you know, I think if everybody, I think it'd be a good idea. Not that, what'd they do? We just talked about that.
I was coming back from my meeting. Are we done? Oh, I'll make a motion to approve the payroll claim.
I'll make second.
Motion Derby, second Smith, approve the payroll claims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned.